Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Ukraine and the developments that are occurring over there. The big one, the one that everybody's going to be mentioning, is that Finland is definitely looking to join NATO. From the Russian perspective, this is a worst case scenario. The goal of this little intervention in Ukraine was to seize territory, weaken NATO resolve, limit NATO's influence over countries close to its borders, and the exact opposite has happened. From a strategic standpoint, this is beyond just a loss of the war. The war has actually produced the exact opposite outcome as desired. And remember, war is a continuation of politics by other means. This is what Russia didn't want, and now it is happening. In response, Russia has suggested it's going to cut off some electrical flows to Finland. Now, as far as joining NATO, there may be some NATO countries, particularly Turkey, who are going to oppose it. If that opposition is strong, in the meantime, until political winds change, it's likely that you see secondary alliances. So maybe Finland doesn't get NATO coverage right away, but it has an alliance with the United Kingdom, Germany, the U.S., so on and so forth. So it's kind of a secondary alliance until Finland can truly be brought into NATO. Now, in Ukraine, it does appear that the Ukrainian version of the Red Ball Express has won. We have seen artillery supplied by the United States. We've seen equipment that was supplied by the Dutch, all on the front lines now. A lot of that aid that was sent over, it is now active on the front lines. So they were able to transport it and get it there. In not totally unrelated news, the Ukrainian counteroffensive is doing very well. It's not moving at a high rate of speed, but it is moving forward. It is pushing Russian forces back. There have also been reports, and we've seen a lot of evidence, suggesting that many Russian units are not waiting to be pushed back. They are voluntarily pulling out. They are retreating in before somebody says that this was a diversion. All of this is north of the Izium area. Now, from the Russian side, we have seen entire squads of Russian proxy forces armed with Mosins. We've seen them pop up throughout the conflict, but it's been pretty isolated. And there was the assumption that they were using them as designated marksman rifles for long-range stuff. We have now seen entire groups. That's what they're carrying. If you don't know a lot about firearms, these are quite literally bolt-action rifles like you would find in like old-timey movies. And this is what they are carrying onto a modern battlefield. In not unrelated news, Russian Telegram channels are hosting fundraisers to get Russian troops equipment, like reflex sights, multi-tools, GPS, stuff like that, for a major military to be in the situation where it is holding a GoFundMe to get Leathermen. That's not indicative of future success. So those are the main developments as we've seen them. There's been some other stuff, but it's relatively minor. These are the things that are going to lead to future developments right now. So what we see strategically, we see countries moving towards NATO, not away from it as Russia had hoped. We see the Ukrainian counteroffensive moving along pretty well. Russian forces are still relatively static. They're not gaining anything really. The aid from the West has arrived on the front lines, and Russian troops are armed with rifles that, if I'm not mistaken, in the United States, they could be purchased with a CNR license. The R in that stands for relic. And they need pocket knives. So that's just a brief overview of where we are at the moment. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.